My people, thank you very much for turning to my channel. My name is Marindo. Today I'm going to give a tribute of one great man that we miss, we all lost as a family, as at the war at large. This a great man have a very inspiring story that is going to help young people. This young man was called AKAYA. That's my dad. That's Ephraim Amika AKAYA. My dad was born around the 1920s. He really cannot be his actual date of birth cannot be remembered, because back then my grandparents were not educated, and people around my dad time in my community, my dad was born in the village that's in Bonanyang, that's in the northwest of southern Cameroon in the Central Africa. My dad, his age was being known because of the event that happened. Certain things that happened, then they estimated that he was being born around the 1920s, which made him, if he was alive, he could have been 100 years and something now. But he died in 2014. That's like 7 years ago. But my dad, this great man, was born in a family. His dad was a polygamy, which means my granddad has 2 wives. So in my dad's own side, my dad had an elder brother, elder sister. He was the third, and he has 2 younger ones behind him. And my grandmother died when giving birth to my uncle, my late uncle also. So all to total, my grandma had 5 children in her own side. 5 children that grew into adult. I don't know if she had ones that died like when they were young, but those that grew. So my dad, elder brother, and my late auntie, those were the ones we really know about, with my dad and my 2 uncles. So my dad was born in this family, and his dad was a herbalist, which means my granddad deal with back then he would be known as nowadays a medical doctor. But back then we had no medical doctor, so he was a herbalist. Mean he would treat people with grasses, with leaves. So he was a healer, healing people just with natural stuff. So my dad in that community, then when my dad was, let's estimate, around 12, 13 years, my dad was sent to the city, I guess for a better life, to go live with the auntie. So my dad came to the city in a little village called Mamu. Mamu is found in the southwest province, closer to Musaka and Muya. So my daddy was living in Mamu, closer to Musaka, with my aunt, with the auntie. That's my dad, my dad's father, the sister. My dad came when he was in standard. Back then you have standard. So my dad was like a standard 4, and my dad finished standard 6. If I'm not mistaken, they have the standard. It was not primary school, but standard. So when my dad finished standard 6, my dad had a lot of energy, a lot of vision. So as we call him Papa, AKAYA decided to work for the CDC. That's the Cameroon Development Corporation. They deal basically with bananas. So my dad went as a laborer for some time. Later on, they promoted him to become a timekeeper. So daddy was working as a timekeeper, and later on he started gathering money. You know, back then he explained that men of his age group that come from the northwest, most people migrated from the northwest then and come to the southwest, because you have opportunities to work in the plantation, you have money, you can have better life. But back in the northwest, you didn't have plantation, so you have more opportunity in the southwest. So most of the most people migrated from the northwest to the southwest looking for a better life. So daddy later on went to when he was promoted as a timekeeper, he started saving his money. Back then, men of his age who want to drink before payday, their money is finished. Immediately they pay their money, they will go and give it to those women that sell alcohol. The daddy was not drinking alcohol. My dad never tasted. He never used to drink alcohol. Let me say that. Because for some reason, if he drink even a little bit, he get drunk. So alcohol didn't favor him. So he avoided that. He didn't smoke. He didn't drink alcohol. He never went to jail. He was afraid of problems, as I was saying it. He tried his best to live a good life, as you said. That if you know you live a good life, you don't touch bitter leaf, there's a saying that your hand will not be bitter. So my daddy was inspired to become great because he worked so hard that his name was Ephraim. That's his Christian name, but the people that he works for, the white people, they call him Effiong. So he started saving money and started doing little business. Like he will buy those bananas that have been rejected and sell. He will buy sometime and bring him in the house and sell for and make more money. So he started turning his money. And then he saved his money and went to the bank. Back then, the bank will borrow you money, will lend you money. But most people did not know about that. My dad, I always say, he has a lot of wisdom. Like I compare it to 300,000 men. Like David, that Ahithophel said David need 300,000 men to pull him down. So daddy had a lot of wisdom. So with that, he went to the CDC and borrowed the money. When he borrowed the money, he lent the money, Daddy bought 49 camion. That's the truck. They call it camion. Truck now. In the United States, for a man to have just one truck, you are a rich man. Truck drivers make from 100,000 a year, which means that at least they make $10,000 a month. That's much money. So you're a rich man. So daddy became a millionaire. Okay, before I go further, my father said that he was so he wanted to become better. So he met this Nigerian man that told him that in order to be successful in business, you need God in you. So daddy said the man told him to do a fast. They did a fast. And that fast was like for 30 days, if I'm not mistaken. And they did morning to morning. I don't know if he did morning to 6, but it was a fast. Or morning to 12. Or he read the Psalms. The man gave him some Psalms. And he read those Psalms. My daddy's favorite Psalms was Psalm 17. He read that Psalms that even up to date, even when we were born, and my dad would get up. He was early bed. He will always get up early. Daddy will get up, let me say 2 o'clock, and will read that Psalms at least for 2 hours. Over and over. Those Psalms kept him going. The word of God is powerful. Those Psalms, he believes so much in them, and it really works for him. I will say that after that fasting for 30 days, God really blessed him because he bought 49 truck at once. My dad used to live in Mamu with my mom and my other stepmother, who is of late. My dad said that after all that, Mamu did not have a lot of land. He really wanted to live in Ekona, but Ekona did not have space for him to park those trucks. So he has to move to Munya because Munya have a lot of land and space to park those trucks. That's what made him now to move to Munya with his family. Daddy moved to Munya. My late uncle, which was my dad's elder brother, he got married and died 1 week after because they explained that he entered, back then they called him Mami Wagon. He was like a boss. You travel from Bamenda to boya. You have to enter those buses and you have to sleep on the way. So on the way that they have to sleep, he was eating like food. He gave everybody but refused to give one old grandmother for some reason. But the way the woman looked at him, I don't know, it was believed that the woman bewitched him. When he came home the next day, all his body was swollen. And unfortunately, my late uncle died. He died when we just gotten married to a new bride. Tradition demanded that the next elder son would take the wife, which was my dad. So my dad was, I will not say forced, he was compelled, as tradition would say, as an obedient child, in bracket, to get married to the first wife, which was my late stepmother. So daddy got married to my stepmother. He claimed, because I asked him, why did you get married again to my mother? That he wanted the woman of his choice. And my late grandmother, that's my late grand auntie, she was like my daddy's mother, because my grandmother died very young during childbirth. And my mother was being found. My mother used to live in a village, also in Bonanyang, but my mother moved to Pondo, which in the southwest. The daddy too was working in the plantation, and mama moved there to meet the daddy, and together she came to Mamu to visit the uncle. That's how my late grand auntie saw my mom and introduced my mom to my father. And my father loved my mommy, and they got married. So that's the second wife. So together, my daddy with his family, my stepmom and my late stepmother and my mother, they moved to Muya. So daddy became automatic. He broke poverty from his lineage. He became a millionaire at once with 49-seater, 49 truck at once. That was it. So, and then he became so faithful now, reading those psalms, holding them, believing God. He was not a born-again Christian, but he knew that God has power. He will be reading those psalms, believing it. He read just the psalms as I was saying, but he trusts so much in those psalms as what the Nigerian man told him, and it works for him. And he read it, and God exploded his business. You know, there's a certain level that they say God will bless you and you never go back the same. That's what happened. After all this months, he started paying her. He make a strategy or start paying the loan back to the government. My daddy was a good planner. He had a lot of wisdom. I would say that, and then he was hardworking, but hardworking is not enough. I always say you need the favor of God. God favor him. After everything he has, he had the favor of God. God favor him. Because I would also say my dad has a large heart. My step uncles, they were like 7 of them, if I'm not mistaken. And my dad basically took care of everybody like their child. I'm telling you, from primary school to secondary school, university, those that were not so smart to school, opened their business. So daddy did many things that I'm sure he has a large heart for his family. That also made God to bless him. That's what I'm going to say. And then my dad, after that, in Monya, my dad now later on extended his business. He now bought the buses, like the Greyhound buses. It was being titled AKAYA and Son Express, that will go through northwest, southwest, northwest, southwest. So that made him to be very famous. Also, those buses, very famous. I would say in the 70s in my country, as I heard, because I was not born then, my dad was one of the richest men back then. He was a millionaire in my country. So my father later on had another second business, insurance. He becomes an insurance agent with car, that if you, back then in my country, if you died, your family died, the government the insurance have to compensate your family and pay your family certain money. So my dad will be the one who will follow up the case, and he will go to court. The lawyer will be there based an insurance agent. So the insurance now will pay the family that died. Then my dad now will give it to the family, and they will give his own commission. So for each family that he won the case, they will give him a commission. So that was another one. There he has an insurance agent. People insure their cars and everything. He had one in Ekondo Titi. He has another one in Moyoka, and he had another one in Moya, in front of the house, with many workers. So I would say then daddy go to Yaoundé every day. There was a certain period he would go to Yaoundé every day. So we live in Moya, that's in the southwest. He drove himself to Douala. Then from Douala now, he would take the plane and go to Yaoundé, basically every day, and come back. So with the insurance, he explained that God bless him so much until he was afraid. Because one day my daddy will come back with 10 million CFA for a long time. That's $20,000 in money. That's $20,000 for a while. So God bless him so much until with the insurance he made a lot of money. But with the car, with the transportation, he made money, but that one alone made him very famous. So my dad was the type of person that he has a vision to really make it in life. He even said that he will go to the shop. He wanted bar head so much that he will be shaving his middle head to become bar, even because he made that back, and then they believe that if you have bar head, it was a sign of rich, a sign that you have money. Upon all that money, he was still very skinny. You see, he has to eat, go to the shop, to the mall to buy expensive stuff, canned stuff, that you want his stomach to be big, because it was believed that if your stomach is, if you have a pot stomach as a man, you're a rich man, you have a diet, it shows your richness. Oh God. Then later on, anyway, he had a pot stomach later on. What he desired, God gave him the pot stomach and God gave him the diet. The daddy was very neat. He always dressed in white shirt, very neat, white pants, drawers. He has washed them. But and then my dad was that one that he has a lot of vision. He was a good saver. With that, he was a family person. He believed so much in education. To him, education was a key of success. He wanted his children to go to school, so he made sure to send them to the best school so far. He wanted them to be educated. And then daddy was that one that after all that, after the insurance and everything, he will be that one that he never want to sit without doing anything. Even as old age, as I get older, he will never want to sit without doing stuff for himself. He was very hardworking, very humbled. You never see my dad getting angry. We live in an area that we were one of the richest people around, as I'll say, in the community that we grew. I don't know why he decided to choose that area for some reason. For me, he could have left to a better area, but he himself knows why he settled in that area, because he was one of the richest men, and it was very dangerous because everybody was a peasant, and then he was extremely rich. But he always tell you that don't make friends with poor people, because if you make friends with poor people, it's very dangerous. That's always tell you. That my dad always tell me that saving money is more difficult than working money. That if God give you the wisdom how to save money, you win the war, because most people don't really know how to save money. It's difficult to save the money, but you can work, but it's difficult. So daddy was that one that he has a lot of houses also that people put for rent. He rent. You never see my daddy being aggressive. He was never aggressive. I have a brother called Kappa who really resemble my father. Never will you see Kappa being aggressive, no matter how angry he is. And then you never my dad is that one that even in that house that people were renting, if you don't pay his rent, he will just say, pay my rent, pay my rent. You never see him violent. Sometimes some people stay for 10 years, 12 years. You always say that, I'll remove you from this house, I'll remove you. They will never remove them. I remember one woman used to say that she was a dumb, and that woman live in that house for free. My dad will never bother. For me, I always see that he gave those houses for charity. So when I was young, I always say, Papa, so you build this house to give it to people to live for free? You just smile, say, Marie, small mommy, you don't know about life. Truly, I didn't know about life. As I get older, my father sold a seed. I'm telling you, people were just living there. Those that don't have money, he will never threaten them. Never bring court, take anybody to police, never. If you're tired after staying there, you go out. If you pay fine, if you don't pay back, you will not really, you just come pay my money. For those that things were really hard for them, you will not really be aggressive to them. My dad was that one that I see that although we were polygamy, you never see us fighting like bully. In every family, there's a problem. There will be that war, but you never see that violent like other people, because my father was a good leader. Because it depends on the leader. He knows how to calm situation. He had a lot of wisdom on how to calm down atmosphere. My daddy's wisdom cannot be explained. He was a great man that many people travel abroad. He gave them bank statement. He will put his money on the line and they'll travel. People go, they not even appreciate it. You never hear him say anything bad about anybody. If you appreciate him, fine. If you don't appreciate him, okay. You call him names, okay. You don't call him names, okay. He was that one that he lived so healthy. He took good care of his health. He drank a lot of water. My dad would eat a lot of vegetable. He would try to exercise. I remember one time one of my brother, who is a medical doctor, came and told my father that if you walk barefooted, you live long. Papa started walking barefooted around the house. So the money you will get, or you just be walking barefooted. When they ask him, that's what he said. My brother said that if you walk barefooted, you live long. But I came to understand that if you walk barefooted, for those that with back problem, it take away pain. That was a research I found out. It help for the pain of your back. If you walk barefooted, so that helps. So daddy tried to do everything natural. You see him eating garlic, you see him eating onion, you see him eating tomato. He was very healthy. You see him, he said, I can do all things through Christ to strengthen me. Even in the 90s, he has to go to school to have the master's degree. But Papa, even in 90s, he was still driving. Everybody would say, Papa AKAYA, stop it, you're blocking traffic. But my father not here. He still keep driving. He was so strong. He believed he can do everything. Don't tell him he's old. Don't tell him he's old. He did so well, and then he never have malice with nobody, putting nobody in his heart. When he says something, it has gone. My father, but he wasn't a born-again Christian. My father had a very, I don't know, there are many things to learn from him. I believe that's one of the reasons that God kept him. He lived with diabetes for a long time, but he was under control because he himself took good care of himself. He will eat. He was a heavy eater. He will never say this food is salty, this food is not nice. Even when you give him, he will appreciate you. Say thank you, thank you, thank you. He was that one that I guess my father was brought up in the area that you don't have to show emotion. African men, you have to be strong, you have to be tough. So no matter how painful it is, you don't have to be romantic. The soft African man, you have to be that. So that's what my father was brought up in that way, that he doesn't really show emotions. The only time I saw my father really show emotions when anyone is sick. He will take good care of you, give you all what you want to eat, give your medicine. Immediately you're fine, you're on your own then. But if you're sick, he's going to take so good care of you. Make sure you have taken your medicine. Come and make sure what you want to eat, he give you. Yeah, if you're fine, then you move on to your own. My father was that one that one of his regrets, he always tell all his kids were that they should not get married to more than one wife. Just get married to your one wife. That's it. And plan your life. My father was that one that he will never, he abolished tradition. Because even where we go, people were saying that we don't follow the tradition. Papa is that one that don't want to do anything. That's why of the reason that he ran away even from the village. He didn't want to do with any tradition, anything. And then he's that one that he will never stop you from getting married to. You know, some parents, you bring this husband, they'll say you cannot get married. My father only asks you one question: are you happy? Are you sure? He can call you and advise you and tell about the person, but he will not like force on you. Or he said that you're the one living with the person, so he has given his own advice. If you want to move on, okay, but he's not pushing it hard. My daddy break a lot of tradition, which was a good aspect. We went to Presbyterian church every Sunday. Daddy was one of the patron. His patron, and they call him Hallelujah Choir. He didn't take communion because according to the Presbyterian, if you're married to more than one wife, you cannot take communion. So he won't take communion. During period of communion, he will just go him outside. So Daddy did a lot of great things to his community and to his family. He lived a better life. That he prayed one prayer that God should never allow him to be bedridden or to get so sick before die. He wants to be healthy, and if it's time for him to die, he should just sleep and die. And that's what happened. Daddy did not really have any sickness. Even after the surgery they did on his leg, but he wasn't really bedridden like other people or really sick that long. No. That was it. His death even come as surprise to even his children. I would say he died a better life because he didn't suffer anybody. He said he didn't want to suffer nobody. Then Daddy took his auntie, that's and lived with her. So we knew my auntie as my father's mother. It's when we get older, but it was my father's auntie. Daddy treated her. That my auntie was married to this guy and could not give birth. And then when the guy died, so my auntie have to come back to my father. So Daddy tried to console her to make her not to feel bad. Okay, that my auntie got married and gave birth and the child died and she could not give birth again. I just want to say that the tribute of my father, he was a great man. AKAYA, he abbreviated his own name. He wanted so much. He believed that with hard work, trusting in God, you can do everything. He would tell you to read your Bible. Read the Psalm 70 was one of his favorite. Psalm 70, Psalm 23, Psalm 91, but Psalm 70 was his favorite that he would give you. Back then, if I did not really know God, but I knew of Psalm 70. When I was writing my GC, he gave me Psalm 70. Be reading it. So that's all I know because that's all they gave me, Psalm 70. To read it and believe that you believe in that Bible, you hold the Bible, that God is going to do everything for you. There is no, the medicine man will not help you. Nothing will help you but God himself. They only deceive you, but believe in God. And it works for him. So my father, my hero, my mentor, the person I got wisdom from, he is so much Papa AKAYA. I always say that he lived his life to the fullest. He saw his children, his grandchildren and great-grandchildren. So my father did live, and he died 15 July 2014, 3 months after my brother died. My brother died April 7, that same year, and my daddy followed July 15. So it has been 7 years since my father died. This tribute go to my father, Papa AKAYA. He lived his life and God so blessed him, and he ran his race and finished his race. If you're a young person listening, know that we hard work and God by you. You can do everything through Christ who strengthens me. Don't believe that all the rich people you see, they have used magic, they have used this, 419. God can bless you. Whatever you do, you put God there, you pray, ask God to help you. You have a vision to become better. You see yourself, you need to have that vision. You need to see yourself big. God cannot take you to where you don't see yourself. Where you don't know, he won't take you there. So this is an inspiration for every young man. You from grass. My father came from grass to grace, from nothing to something, without any godfather, but God by himself, without any pushing. So thank you very much if you have been listening. May his soul rest in perfect peace. Through being to my father, Papa E.A. AKAYA. He adopted the name Chief E.A. AKAYA. Thank you very much.